Hey, it's Tom from Inspiration Metalworks. In this week's video, we need to make a couple of these brackets. And the first thing we gotta do is draw it. And what I decided to do, because I've been fighting with the drawing itself, trying to get all the measurements and everything, it dawned on me that a lot of times when I have stuff like this, the best thing I can do is just scan it in. Well, the best way to get it to show up right is to make sure it's all one color. So what we're gonna do is I've got some black spray paint, and we're literally just gonna spray paint our cardboard aided design to make it easier for us to have a computer aided design. So what we're doing is we're getting this nice solid color that we'll use, and that will show up really good on the scanner. So once this is dry, it's like 90-some degrees out here right now in the sun, it's not gonna take long. But once this is dry, when you put it in the scanner's got a white background with that black. It's very, very crisp and sharp, and it gives me a beautiful scan that I can then use to create my drawing and get all my measurements done. So that's where we're gonna get started. Once this is dry, I'll bring you back. All right, so we got the World Cup game on. I'll put that on there so much. It's copyrighted stuff. Anyways, we've got our template, right? And so, tell you what, why don't you come over? As you can see on the table, it really stands out, right? So when I put this on the scanner, it's going to come out really nice and clear. And what I can do is I can take measurements from here to here, right? And use that to calibrate the rest of this when I do the scan. So I know exactly what this measurement is supposed to be. I can make sure that that is exactly right when I get this in the whole drawing. All right, so we threw our part in on the scanner. Take a look at it real quick. Let's see. Let's get it in the right spot. I don't know if Hal's got his own. I'm gonna go with this. Choose that. We're going to say that this is a BatWing bracket. So we're using 300 DPI. Right, everything else is pretty much standard. And we'll go ahead and just scan this in. I'm using image capture on the Mac. Oh, sorry, I didn't select my area. We'll just let it auto detect. Looks good. And we'll just go ahead and scan it. Alright, so there it is. It's scanning. Warming up. This is the hard part, right? It's making sure we've got this nice clean line, good contrast. So now when we open this, oh, I saved it as a PDF. Oh well. We're going to export it. Yeah, I made a mistake. This needs to be a JPEG for what I'm doing. I could use PNG, but we'll do that. I'm just going to save it in my downloads for now. So I've got it as a PDF if I ever want to print it off. Do this by hand. It's there. We are ready to go. So I am now working remotely on my PlasmaCAM. Do a new drawing. And so this is one of the tricks that I do all the time. Rather than have to physically be at the machine all the time, I'll use remote desktop to get to it. So we're going to import our drawing that we just scanned. And I did go back and make sure that it was in the, it's upside down. Make sure it was in the right place. So I know I saved that in my downloads folder, but I moved it. All right, so here it is. Right now, I really just want the black part of it. Right, so I'm just going to select this color and take a look. No, that's not good. So now I need to add in that. All right, so we're starting to get a better feel for it. You know, I could pick one of these in here. We're pretty good at this point. Maybe I'll go one shade darker. All right, That I think is a pretty good outline. So it's not perfect, but we're here and it gives me something to work from. Now, I should have gotten some of this ready ahead of time. I'm back. So, I know 313. Okay, so these two holes are 313. I also know their distance. So I look at that is 185. Of course, I'm getting all kinds of stuff on here when I don't want to. Aha. When I'm recording. Okay. So if I were to just drop a point. Oops, let me make sure oh, really? That's neat. I have to do a lot of editing here. Okay, so if I were to drop a point about the center of where I think that is, and about the center of where I think this is, that's annoying. I should be able to measure, oops, measure from our point here to our point here. Alright, so I'm a little off, but actually I'm not that far off, right? So, good. Now I know those points aren't perfectly accurate, but that was just to get me close. So that's good. I know that these circles are, I'm gonna oversize them just a little. 313. I'm gonna make them 325 because I can. So I'm gonna put that guy about there, and I'm gonna do it again. I know I'm using some shortcut keys that are specific to mine, but that's okay. Now what I will do on these is I will adjust these holes to be right. This hole is actually supposed to be a slider, and it needs to be that's according to the original bracket, it's about 680. So we'll do the same process. We'll do a circle, 0.680, and we'll drop that guy roughly center on where that mark was. Okay, there's that. We'll smooth this a little bit, so we'll go in, edit, smoothing, and you can either just click. I'm gonna give it 10 thousandths. That helped a lot. I'll probably just go back in and clean all that up anyways. Oh, this guy down here is also one of these, so we'll copy that. And we'll go from the, oops, wrong button there. Let's copy it from here. Oh good, get my center point. And we'll drop that guy right about roughly the center of that. Not so much, dang it, I keep doing that. This is the problem with keyboard commands. Roughly the center of this, right? So I'm looking at this part. Because these holes were just kind of ripped in. They weren't exactly right. Okay, so this gets me pretty close. Now, what I typically would do for this now is just start cleaning up, right? So I will turn on things like snapping to node points, and I see all this jagged stuff. Well, I know that I've got a node point that's pretty straight here, and one that should be right where that's tangent. Now that that's there, I can actually trim all that other junk out wasn't. Oh, dang it. Did it again. This is really annoying. We're gonna undo. Okay, so now that I have these, I can come in here and trim this other stuff out. And one thing that I typically do is let's zoom in. Right? So let's zoom so I can see, and you guys can see now it shows up a whole lot more, right? Yeah, I know I'm sharing. Just get this out of the way. Now you can really see that. So if I come up and use my trim tool, right, and start to bring some of that out of there. I can, and it's much harder to do because I'm doing this on a remote. I can start to say, okay, well, there's that part, there's that part. I zoom back out. Too far. I start to look at this part that's not supposed to be here anymore, and I can just press the delete key. I can start to figure out where the parts are that need to get trimmed. And again, what's nice about this is you just have to be close. It might be it. If I join it, no, there's something wrong. There's still something there. So if we zoom out and press the D, we'll start to see, oh, there's intersections. Okay. So now I can zoom in on that area, figure this out. We'll zoom way in. And I can see where they start to get that overlap. So again, let's just clean it up. And then I press the J to join it, and now we've got you can see how the color changed. We're in good shape there. We can zoom, that's not what I wanted. Zoom to the extents of our part, and you can see how, we went through. Now, I'm sitting here going through and slowly explaining what I do. I'm doing it remotely. This is not how I typically do it. I can't use all my function keys the way I typically would. I am much faster at the machine, and so I'll finish the rest of this at the machine. That was just to give you an idea of how you can do this. I'll clean all these up to make it look a whole lot prettier here real fast. It won't take long at all. And then I will just make sure that my measurements are right, and I'll be ready to cut it. We've got our cut part. There's a couple of dimensions that are critical, right? So we need this spacing and then this spacing are the critical elements. So this is a stretched out part, so I can't just lay it across and see how it did. What I can do is check that whole pattern, which you can see is pretty well spot on. And then this whole pattern to make sure that it's going to fit, which looks like it's working. So I believe we've got our part done, and we'll just cut the other one and we'll be ready to go. Hey, so thanks for watching today. I hope this was useful to you. I've had a lot of people ask me lately about how I actually go about creating these type of parts, because a lot of people just don't have the background in CAD or things like that. And so I just thought I'd step you through it. Now, this is just one way that I do it. Sometimes I use Fusion 360. There's lots of other methods. Even when I went back and did the cleanup myself, I realized that the way that I was trimming was a slow way of doing it. I should have just found those endpoints, cut right there, deleted that whole segment, and drawn a straight line. Right? So there's lots of ways that you can do this sort of thing.
You could scan it in, do a trace around it, in the drawing. So this is just one way. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments. If you didn't know, you can find me. I posted some of this stuff already. You can find me on Instagram. It's TJ Zelik on Instagram. I also have a Patreon site as well, and links below in the description for different ways that you can reach me. I try to respond to everybody who reaches out to me. Sometimes it takes me a little while. I do get a fair bit of personal emails, but I make it public. I don't hide from it. So if you guys need something, let me know. With that, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.